Okay, hi. My name is Sean. This is JC Rock and Metal Reviews, and we're doing a special top 10 Metallica songs. I have my guest Brian from AYBL, Maine. So 10 songs. We're going to be counting down from 10 to 1. And so let me start. I'll go first. Okay.
Sounds good to me. Thanks.
Okay. So my number 10 pick is something a little different. Tuesday's Gone. This was from their Garage Days Revisited album. It's a cover. I've always loved the Leonard Skinner song. That was from their first album. And it's something I've loved for a long time. It's one I love playing on the guitar. Me and my brother jam to it a lot. And they do a really good job. And it's actually like a big collaboration between bunch of other artists. I wrote them down here just because I know I wasn't going to remember. But it's Hetfield singing, and he has a really good voice for Southern rock. It actually would be pretty cool if he ever did an album. But we have Gary Rossington. I think he was from Leonard Skinner. We have Pepper Keenan from Corrosion of Conformity. John Popper from Blues Travel. He plays harmonica on it. Les Claypool from Primus, and Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains, and there's one more, I forgot to write his name, but the guitarist from Faith No More. So it's this big collaboration, and it is just a really great song. I really like it because they kind of kept to the original. They didn't really turn it into a metal song. And so that's it. That's my number 10. Okay, so
that song felt like a really good jam session to me when I listened to that song.
Yeah, it was really great.
It just felt like it was a natural jam session in the studio. It just felt cool.
Yeah.
Okay. For my number 10, I went with something from Death Magnetic. I like Death Magnetic coming off of Saint Anger because it felt like they were kind of getting back on track again. And it was produced by Rick Rubin. And I know Rick Rubin's the type of guy that he strips you back down again and tries to get back to who you are, what he thinks is the essence of who you are. So I picked The Day That Never Comes off of that. Yeah. I really like the nice slow guitar intro to it. And it's got that laid back kind of feel for some of Metallica's ballads, but then about halfway through the songs, you start getting all these different guitar solos and different chord progressions, and it kind of ends on this really, really high note, which I really liked. I mean, I thought coming off Saint Anger, it was nice to see them get back on track a little bit here. So that's the reason I picked that particular song.
Okay. Yeah, cool. That's a good one. So actually, that's a good segue because my number 9 is from that same album and from Death Magnetic. And I chose Cyanide. And the reason I chose that one is that I saw Metallica live here in Mexico City in 2012. And this video is actually on YouTube. You can kind of look it up. And it's a heavy song. It's really great riff. But what I liked about it, when I watch it live, is they have this really great stage show. They have all these screens, but they're in the shapes of coffins, and they show all these people. They're CGI people, and it's they're waking up inside a coffin and trying to bang and get out. And it's kind of very when you first see it, it's kind of you think about it. It's very kind of anxiety producing, but it's also pretty cool. I really like the song because it's heavy. In the beginning, it has a really great riff in the beginning. It has that the galloping guitars in the verse section, and the chorus section is kind of pretty melodic. So, and there is also another part where they kind of slow it down a lot. So mostly because of that live show, that song is always stuck with me. So that's why I want to represent Death Magnetic in this one. And so that's my number 9. Yeah.
That's a good pick. Yeah. Nice. For my number 9, I went with their most recent album. I went with the track that really was thrown in there at the last minute, which is the title track, which was kind of odd when you think about it. You think that would be one of the first things that actually went on the album. It actually ended up being the last thing that ended up going on the album.
Cool.
Hardwired. Hardwired. Yeah, the leadoff track, and it feels. It was so nice after that long hiatus to get a Metallica album, and it felt exactly like a Metallica album that I can remember from the late 80s and early 90s. The hard banging riffs. I mean, it's only a 3-minute track, but it's got hard banging riffs, and James's voice is just just pounding and pounding and pounding. It felt like the old Metallica to me, and I had to include it on my list. I really did.
Yeah, that's cool. I actually remember the day that was released. I think they kind of just like released it out of nowhere. They like, kind of like threw it on YouTube, and I remember watching it, and you know, it's a really great song because it's just a return to form, just returning to their roots, like their Kill 'Em All days, and that's why I really like the song. Again, it's very short, it's quick,
Yeah.
it's simple, but you know, it kind of established them as like, you know, like, hey, like we're back. So I like that a lot. And okay, so I'm actually kind of like doing the same as you. My next one is from that same album, but it's actually the last song called "Spit Out the Bone." And the thing with I have the Hardwired to Self-Destruct. I have it on CD, and it comes with 2 CDs. So for this album, the first CD is just awesome all the way through. I mean, I like every song like right after each other. The second CD, you pop it in, and the songs are okay, but you know, they don't really have the same quality as the songs on the first album. But this "Spit Out the Bone," this is just, in my opinion, probably one of their best songs like since like the Black Album. I mean, like it's just a really awesome song. It's like long. It's like 7 minutes. It's something that could have been on like Master of Puppets or maybe Ride the Lightning. And you know, they had a music video for it, which is kind of cheesy. It has all this like futuristic robots and stuff. I just watched it like before doing this because I wanted to like refresh myself. But that's always been my favorite. It's just so heavy. It has that like heavy like just riff, and really it's really fast song, and just another return to form. So that's my number 8 pick. Yeah.
Nice. That's very nice. Okay, for my number 8, I went a little bit completely off the path a little bit, and I picked a song from the tribute to Deep Purple, Remachined. Came out in 2012. Cool. They did a cover of When a Blind Man Cries.
Oh, that's cool. I was actually thinking of doing that one too.
That was the first time, John, that I'd actually had heard the song ever. I never even heard the Deep Purple version. Oh, so cool. I listened to that, and I could have sworn like Metallica had wrote it themselves.
Yeah.
His voice was so sincere in it. And when I went to listen to the Deep Purple one, I was amazed that it was almost like a down the line cover of it. It's like they did it such justice that James didn't try to do anything special with it. He just did it exactly like Deep Purple did it. And it came off great. I loved it. I thought it was great. That's like my favorite cover that they've done. And I know I've listened to all the garage stuff, you know, the Garage Revisited stuff and the Garage Incorporated stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite cover song that they've ever done.
Yeah, that's cool. You know, I was like really close to putting that, like, you know, instead of a Tuesday's Gone. And I like the song, and it's pretty cool because that Deep Purple song came out in 1972, I think. And you know, it's just a really great cover that like Metallica did it. It's one that a lot of people don't know because it was on the 3rd disc of Hardwired, and I think it was on it was a Deep Purple's covers album, I believe.
Yeah.
So okay, so that's cool. So my number 7 is going to be like one that's a little different, but it's one that's grown on me. It's called the Low Man's Lyric from what's that called? Reload, sorry. So Low Man's Lyric, it's a ballad, but it's weird. They have like these different instruments. They have an instrument called like a hurdy-gurdy, which I'm not really sure exactly what it is, but they play this melody. It almost sounds like they're playing some kind of a keyboard. Now I know this because I kind of researched it. I spoke about this in a previous video, and it's just an acoustic ballad. And James Hetfield, he sings it, but he sings it like really like low, almost like he's doing that like Tibetan throat singing at some points. I mean, his vocals are really low. It has that melody, and it has a sound that's almost like from a soundtrack to those old like 60s westerns. And I don't know if that's what they were going for. I think that might have been. But it's a very different song. I probably didn't like it when it first came out, but it's one of those songs that I've learned to appreciate and Reload a lot more over the years. I think I like it better than Load now. It's just that it has so many of these songs on Reload that, you know, they sound a little different, but they're really good. So that's my number 7. So,
I know that. I know that Load and Reload both don't really seem to get a lot of love from the Metallica purists
No.
out there. They really go down on it, especially Reload, because and I like the Memory
Yeah.
Remains, the duet they do with Mariana Faithfull. So that's a
Yeah.
shame. I don't have a problem with Load or Reload, but a lot of Metallica purists, they seem to.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the time, I think it was just different because they put out this first video and I forgot. I think it's called "Until It Sleeps," and it was very weird. Like they cut their hair.
Yeah.
They all had short hair. It's like a different kind of video. It's like the sound is different. It's not like metal. It's not really thrash. It's like this alternative rock, and it's very strange. I think like Lars Ulrich is wearing like this black eye painted. They kind of like just
Yeah, he's
completely
got like
changed their style.
yeah.
But I didn't like Load, but I think there are a few songs that do stand out. But I have learned to appreciate Reload a little better because, like you said, the memory remains and Fuel. That's another good song from Reload. So Reload
Right.
does have some gems on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, number 7 for me is I kind of went back a little bit and I picked Fade to Black from Ride the Lightning, which is it's the bookend from side 1. It's the end track on side
yeah,
1. Probably, I want to say, I know they've done they were famous for their ballads on the Black album, but I feel like it's their strongest ballad
yeah. I think so.
overall. I think anyway, and I know Disturbed has done a cover of this too that I've heard live, that sounded really almost down the line a little bit, but
Yeah,
I think it's their strongest ballad. I'm a huge Master of Puppets fan, but Ride the Lightning is still, all 8 tracks are still favorites of mine. I mean,
yeah,
you know, and Fade to Black is probably my second, which I won't tip what my first favorite song is off of that. And so I had to include it on there. It still had that they've crisped up their sound since Kill 'Em All. I mean, that's the jump that they made from Kill 'Em All to Ride the Lightning.
yeah,
Sound and production was so much crisper. And
yeah,
I mean, they had Fleming Rasmussen was doing their production, so you could definitely tell the difference between high studio production versus the low studio production they had on Kill 'Em All. Big jump for the band. So
yeah,
it's good sound.
yeah. So that's definitely true. Ride the Lightning was a big change. I will be mentioning that one later on. But okay, so moving on. So we're at number 6 now. No, I think that my next ones are going to be some of the more well known. So my number 6 is Enter Sandman, and you're probably thinking this is an obvious choice, but this is just a really good song. It's just one that I haven't gotten bored of it. A lot of people say, "Oh, Enter Sandman," I'm so sick of that. They heard it 1,000 times. I've heard it 1,000 times, and I enjoy it. Like even to this day, it just has a really great riff. It has a great melody, and I like the lyrics. I remember the music video with like the flashing lights and like the truck like knocking over the bed and
Yeah.
all that. This is one I've played a lot. And like I said, me and my brother used to jam to this one a lot. I love playing this on the guitar. And what I like about this song is like this is a song that if you're at a party, you have people visiting who are like non-metalheads. I like this is the kind of song that you can play and it's like not gonna like freak everybody out. Like it's a kind of it's a metal song that's heavy, that's like accessible for everybody. Like
Yeah.
everybody knows it, and so that's what I like about it. Even like my kids know the song. Like they like this is like the song that I play and like they say it's like my song. And so that's why I like Enter Sandman. Even though I've heard a lot, it's just it's kind of like Stairway to Heaven. Like I've never gotten bored of it. There's some of those songs.
Absolutely.
So that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good choice. That's a great choice. Number 6 for me is and I mean we could get into a long discussion about how I feel about how Injustice for All was misproduced.
Yeah.
There's a lot of articles about the bass being stripped out of it.
Yeah.
Terrible. So, and I've heard the one where they put the bass back in. Somebody actually did that and put the bass back in it.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
But my favorite song off of there though is the lead track Blackened, which I know that musically it was Lars and James and Jason all had a hand in as far as the writing of that particular song goes.
Yeah.
It's my favorite song on there. It's a real shame when I go back and listen to it now that you can tell that it doesn't have a lot of the bass parts even in that song.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a real shame. But still, that's a strong album despite those flaws that are obviously there. And Blackened was my favorite song on there. I know a lot of people liked One because it had the music video and it was tied to Johnny Get Your Gun, the movie, from the 60s, I believe the 60s.
Yeah.
But overall, I think Blackened is the stronger song on there. And there's some strong songs on there, but Blackened I think is the strongest anyway. So
okay,
that's my number 6.
All right, cool. It's actually funny that you mentioned One. That's my next one. So yeah, my number 5 is One, and I think this one just has a personal, brings back a lot of memories for me, because this was around, and Just for All was released in 1988, and that was the year I was 17 years old. I was really getting into heavy metal. So my first Metallica album was Master of Puppets, and after that, I was, just really, convinced that I really loved heavy metal, and I think, and Justice for All was released shortly afterwards. And I remember Metallica was a band that they never made music videos. Like, they were against it. And it's really amazing because Metallica was a band. They didn't get any radio play. They weren't on MTV. And they just basically grew by word of mouth. And that's kind of like one of the amazing things about this band is that they really got big. But, when Just for All came out, they decided, okay, so we're going to make a video, but we're not going to do the same kind of video that everyone else is making. So they make this video with all these, the movie clips, and they kind of incorporate it, and they keep the dialogue in the song. And I actually enjoy listening to the song, but listening to this on YouTube and with the music video, because I think the dialogue just adds to the song.
Yeah,
I enjoy this. It's almost like there's two versions of the song. You can listen to it with the dialogue or without the dialogue. And like I said, Metallica, they like making these or writing songs that kind of like produce anxiety and almost the same way I watch a horror movie. It's kind of it's that rush that gives you. And this, being a 17-year-old, not really familiar with heavy metal, and just seeing this kid with no arms and no legs, and he's blind and deaf, and he's moving his head and trying to do the Morse code, telling the nurses to kill him. I mean, that's kind of when you think about it, some crazy stuff. But and this song, another one, I don't get bored of it. I like the acoustic parts, and it starts out with acoustic. A lot of people say it's a ballad, but you could say it is or not. But starts out with acoustic, gets heavy, and then there's a breakdown at the end. It gets really super heavy with really super fast playing. So I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, it's maybe the first song I kind of remember Lars doing a little bit more polyrhythmic drumming.
Yeah.
Than some of the earlier stuff, he was kind of straightforward,
Yeah.
But this one had a little bit more polyrhythmic stuff when they started bringing the song faster.
Yeah, it's just like that breakdown towards the end. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it. Okay, number 5 for me is now this is my favorite Metallica album. Somebody bought me this cassette when I was a junior in high school, so I'd have been 17. So it would have been in '86. A buddy of mine who was actually on a tennis team too, he bought me the cassette, and I wasn't really into metal all that much at the time, and so. But I started listening to this, and I could actually go to sleep to Master of Puppets cassette. It was crazy. As loud as it was, to me, it soothed me for some reason.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite songs on there is Disposable Heroes. Just the way it kicks off the second side, you got that drum coming in going da, 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 and it's just really great. And it goes in, it's nice. It's like an 8-minute track, and it's talking about young men being sent off to war and throwing their lives away for war, and had this great message stuff. And I like how it comes back. You got the big long bridge and everything, and then it comes back, and one of the last things that James says is, you know, you servant, you blind man, back to the front. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just a powerful, powerful song.
yeah,
I really like it.
yeah. This one, that is one of my favorites from Master of Puppets. That definitely an underrated song, but you know, from Master of Puppets. But that's definitely a great one. I remember seeing them live. They had like showing like the soldiers like marching all around the
Oh,
stage
wow.
scene. That was really great. Okay, so we're up to 4 now. So my number 4 is "Creeping Death" from Ride the Lightning, and this is just a really great song. It's from the H.P. Lovecraft, the Cthulhu stories. But this is like the one of the best live songs, just because like it gets everybody all excited, all riled up, and you know the end when it's like die, like die. Everyone's like chanting die, and just for that reason, I have it at number 4 because it's one of those songs that it gets everybody involved. Like when and they always play it like towards the end, or they play it during the encore, or maybe one of the last songs. They probably play it live like pretty much every show, and it is just such an it's heavy, really great thrash metal track.
Yeah.
And you know, considering it came out in 1984, you know, it's good, really great. It's like a kind of a longer song, and that's it. Just one of their best live songs. So that's my number 4.
Okay, you completely stole my thunder on that one then, for sure, because that's my number 4 song as well.
All right, cool.
I could not think about taking that off of there at all. I mean, the
Yeah.
the powerful biblical connections that it has, you know, with Creeping Death, and
Yeah.
it's just a great song. I mean, you said just about everything that I could say about the song, you know, and it's I mean, you've seen them in concert, and I haven't had the benefit of seeing Metallica in concert, but it's like, that's just like, if you sit down and you listen to Ride the Lightning, that's like the track on side 2 that is just going to stand right out to you. And does it come just before the Call of Cthulhu? Is that the song just before? Isn't like the 3rd track on the 2nd side, I think?
No, I think it is it's the second to last one, because I did a video on ranking the Metallica's closing tracks, and the closing track is the instrumental that's called Cthulhu, right? Yeah, the instrumental is called Cthulhu.
Yeah,
they close with an instrumental, and I kind of thought like they probably should have closed with Creeping Death. It probably would have been better as an album closer.
Maybe they learned from that when they went into Master of Puppets,
Yeah.
though, and they closed with Damage Incorporated. I mean,
because Metallica, they like to open with a real banger and close with a banger.
Yeah.
So I think that, yes, Creeping Death probably could have been a good closer. So that's cool. So we're on number 3.
We're on number 3.
So my number 3 is going to be the title track to Master of Puppets, because this is just such an awesome song. It starts out heavy, really a lot of complex riffs too. You know, this is another great song to play on the guitar. You know, I love playing it. It is kind of difficult to play because there's a lot of like signature changes and things like that. But I love how it gets like really heavy, and then the breakdown where everything just got the clean guitars, and it's really like atmospheric. It slows down, and then it comes back with the guitars like the, and it just kind of like gives you that rush, because like it's really fast at first, then it kind of slows down, you're relaxed, and then it kind of like starts like building up again. And just that part right there where like the heavy like chords comes in, and it goes like the doom, 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 and it just like, that's just like such a great like feeling when you're listening to that song. And one I've just always remembered, this is another one of those songs that I don't get bored of it. I've been listening to it since I've been like 16 or 17. And it's a long song. It's 8 minutes long, but you know, it doesn't feel long, because it's almost like in 3 parts, where it has like the fast part, then the slow part, and then the fast part again. And so that's why I definitely love this song. It's my number 3. So.
All right, number 3 for me, you've already talked about it, is Metallica jumping into the mainstream, and I have Enter Sandman here at number 3 for me. It was like you said before, it's still that song still had that 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 pounding heavy metal sound, but suddenly it was completely accessible on every level. It was accessible from lyrics, it was
Yeah.
accessible from musically, and I think really what helped during that time is the time frame that it came out. People all of a sudden in 91, people were so much more acceptable of different musics overall,
Yeah.
because that line even in alternative rock had been blurred in the 91s with, you know, Nirvana and REM got really big. And so even now people were really allowing every type of music to become accessible to them. And so Metallica just blew up. An album like that had some good ballads on it and everything. And Enter Sandman was the perfect song to release for all of that, to where, yeah, you're still going to be connected to your heavy metal base, and but you're going to pull in some of the people who have never even thought about listening to Metallica before with a song like Enter Sandman.
Yeah.
It was that perfect song, and I like it. I was really big into Neil Gaiman's Sandman series at the time, which is the graphic novel stuff,
Yeah.
you know. And I can remember, like, you know, listening to that song and reading his material, and it's like it was a great time. Yeah, it was great. I love the song.
Yeah, that's cool. I also remember back then, I used to watch MTV's Headbangers Ball. They would play heavy metal on Saturday nights, and they almost like never played heavy metal like during the day or during the week. And I think this was one of the first songs that was, you know, played on a regular basis, you know, like anytime during the day. So I think like this kind of like made heavy metal almost, you know, very accessible at that time. So that's why it's definitely a great song. So I got it. Yeah, I've never gotten bored of it. So we're on number 2. So this one might be a little different one. I chose Seek and Destroy from Kill 'Em All. And I chose this because it's one of my favorite songs. Like I said, a lot of these songs I'm choosing just like songs I used to love playing on the guitar and still love playing. Has a really great riff, and it's not really as fast as the other ones. It's more of like a mid-tempo song. It's still heavy, but it's not really as much of like a thrash song. It kind of has more roots in like the new wave of British heavy metal, more of like that style, and has a really great riff, but it still has that like galloping riff, that like kind of like chugging riff in the verse section. And you know, the chorus definitely memorable, has a lot of great like lead guitar work. The solos are really great, and this is just one of my favorite songs. Just love playing it on the guitar because it was a little different. You know, it's not like in your face like thrash. It's just more of like straightforward like heavy metal, and it kind of like stood out on the Kill 'Em All album. So that's
Yeah,
why I like that.
I think you're right. It does have that British metal feel to it a
Yeah.
little bit more than the thrash stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really straightforward thrash. Kind of, you know, like you could think of maybe a little closer to a band like maybe like Judas Priest, or you know,
Yes.
those stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, number 2 for me is where I'm going back to Ride the Lightning, and it's For Whom the Bell Tolls. I mean, it's got the nice intro where you've got the bells chiming and everything, and then Lars comes in with the guitars, and you start right in with the track. What I like about it is the lyrics to it almost put you on a battlefield in itself. I mean, James's lyrics are really great on there. And that's what I really, and every time, like when he's going through all the different choruses and everything else, you just feel like you're like a soldier out on the battlefield, running through all this chaotic stuff that's going on, and people dying around you and everything. I think it's like, I think if you could have released that track in a different time, and it could have been that accessible track for Metallica to break into the mainstream. It had that type of feel to it, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it does. It's pretty cool because that like main riff is played on the bass guitar. I always thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. And that's another live staple. And they pretty much play it like almost every show, and if not every show. Again, it's really great, and yeah, like you said, it is memorable. It is like a little more accessible than the other stuff, because Ride the Lightning. There's a lot of variety on the album. You know, so it has like the ballad. It has like a song like this, and it has some songs that are like super heavy.
Trapped
Fight
Under
Fire
Ice
with
is
fire,
really
like
heavy.
yeah, Trapped Under Ice. Fight Fire with Fire. That's like borderline death metal. That one.
Yeah.
Actually, could have put that on my list. I didn't. But so we're at number one. My number one, you mentioned is Fade to Black. But like I said, this is a live staple. They always play it live. Great ballad, great lyrics, and I like how they, you know, it starts with like the clean guitars or the acoustic guitars, and really great like melody in the intro section. And this is like one of like the first songs where like it follows the like it's like the soft verse, then the heavy chorus, you know, and then there's a breakdown where they get a little more like thrashy. They play like more of the thrashier riffs. So that's why Fade to Black is my favorite. I think it's one of the most important songs in heavy metal because it's one of the first like true like heavy metal like power ballads from like a thrash metal band. So I think that's a very important song. So
good.
That's my number one.
That's your number one. It's a good number one.
Yep.
Number one for me, my wife would even know this. I mean, because even she likes this song. It's the title track from Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was the first Metallica song I had ever heard in my life. It was completely different than any other type of song you would ever hear. Like you said, it's basically broken down into 3 sections. You've got you got a very fast section at the beginning, and then you got this very melodic middle, which brings you into an even faster ending than was at the beginning. You know, and obviously it's alluding to. It sounds like it's alluding to drug use, things like that. How you can be controlled by being addicted to substances and things like that. It's but it's I remember owning the T-shirt, and it's just so awesome. I wish that I was able to maintain a physique that would allow me to keep the T-shirt.
Oh yeah,
still wear it today, but it's just not in the cards for me. But my favorite song by Metallica by a long shot, and it's I can remember owning the cassette and opening up and reading the liner notes, and in there, of course, it's because they're already dedicating the whole album to Cliff. In between the time that the album got done and by the time that it actually got released, you had already lost Cliff by that point. So it's like there was already dedications and stuff in there and stuff, and it's
cool.
It's kind of sad, and but what a great song! It's a great song. I used to warm up to Master of Puppets for a tennis match. You used to see my opponent's look on their face. When you're doing something like that, they're like, "What is this guy doing?"
I know. Metallica is awesome. If you do any type of physical activity or in the gym, it's an awesome band for that. Okay, so that's cool. So that's it, and so that's cool. So we got to definitely do another one sometime.
Yeah, I mean, I'm up for anything too. I mean, even if it's Rich Strickland and I did one together, and I wasn't even familiar that much at all with CCR, and I went ahead and ran their discography and came up with a top 10 list, after I listened to their discography a few times. So even if it's a band I'm not familiar with, I'm willing to listen to them and give you my novice opinion, about stuff like that.
No, yes, same with me. I'm mostly a metal guy, but I've listened to a lot of different different styles of music over the years. Even like a band like REM, like I'd be interested in like revisiting that maybe. But we can think about something, and you could just come up with something, and we'll do something different. So that's cool. Okay. So if anybody here still watching us, make sure you give Brian a sub. I'll put his link to his channel down in my video description, and so that's it. Thanks for watching. So let me
all right, thanks for having me, John.
Thank you. Thanks, Brian.
Take care, buddy.
Okay,
bye.
Bye.